Oh, sorry.
Started.
No, I was too quick. Great. Okay, again, welcome everybody to the second webinar of our SNGA Two of Us Working Group TurboClick Transformation Opportunities in Climate Change. We will talk today about climate resilience, resilient inclusive urban master plan, a nice abbreviation. I don't know if you're talking like Creole, like you will hear about the experiences from Bangladesh, from the CRISC project. So really happy to have the colleagues here, which I will introduce you properly in a bit. What we have planned for today is, if my screen is just working, I'll come to that. I have some kind of connection issues somehow. So bear with me. It will be showing in a bit, I hope. We have planned to, I don't know if someone can guide that presentation for me somehow. Otherwise, I have to stop sharing. Something got completely out of control in my computer, guys. Sorry for that. I cannot control anything. Just a second. Okay, now. So it's the hiccups in the technical issues. After a long time doing online things, there's always something happening. Bear with us. We will have a short welcome by our joint speakers, Sebastian Markert and Ishitiak Hossain, to introduce you briefly about TurboClick. I prepared a brief checking to set the scene and activate you a bit, and then we will have the presentation on climate resilient inclusive urban master plan by Ronnie and Enamul, and time enough in the end for questions and answers and discussions between all of us. Yeah, with that, I would hand over to Sebastian or to Ishitiak to start the presentation from the TurboClick site. Ishitiak, over to you.
You're still muted.
Sorry, now I'm audible?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sebastian, and thank you, Lucy. And first of all, actually, dear distinguished, good morning and good afternoon from Dhaka, actually. Actually, we are delighted to extend our warm and hearty welcome to all of you, actually, who have gathered today for this second webinar of TurboClick of this year. And it is really an absolute pleasure to see such an enthusiastic and diverse audience from around the different countries, and they are joining this session today. And you know that our distinguished speakers have generously dedicated their time and knowledge to make this webinar possible. Therefore, thanks to Mr. Hamidul Islam Choudhury and Mr. Enamul Haq for dedicated your time for this session. And already through our email correspondence, you already got some information about the CRISC project. You know that CRISC project in Bangladesh, actually they are working with the supporting municipalities and to review their existing urban development and investment planning policies and to integrate their climate change risk and impacts for nationwide rollout. And in the project, actually, we saw that they have improved the planning and implementation capacities of the city authorities, public representatives, and the key stakeholders of other public institutions. That we'll know more from their presentation. And therefore, the objective of this today's webinar is it will be showcase of the experience gained within the project, especially about the master plan and the proposed national methodologies they have developed, related innovations, their lesson learned, recommendation, and way forward. And therefore, I would also like to express our gratitude to all the participants who have taken your time of your busy schedule to be here with us today. And we are really your active engagement and question contribution will undoubtedly make this webinar an interactive and meaningful experience for all of us. And as from in our TurboClick, actually, if you see the slide here, we are 5 members working together for TurboClick, and me, Mohammad Ishtiaq Hossain, as a speaker, co-speaker from SNGS side, and Philip Riveri, he is FMB from headquarter. From SNGS side and from TUEVA side, Sebastian, he is our co-speaker, and Dr. Sandra Schuster also from FMB from headquarter, and Luciana Maya also our knowledge and community management expert. And I am passed to Sebastian to say something, and welcome to the session. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Ishtiaq, for this nice welcome and introductory remarks to that session. Yeah, for those who don't know me yet, my name is Sebastian, and I'm, as you've seen in the previous slide, the co-speaker of Ishtiaq from the TUEVA side of TurboClick. And I think most of you would roughly know what TurboClick is all about, so we can make it quite brief to have more time than for the real presentation and discussion. So this slide gives you a good overview. It's really cross-cutting, governance, climate, adaptation, mitigation, of course, lots of urban planning, resilience, and many more of those keywords. And today we have a very interesting session with examples, as Ishtiaq already presented us or introduced us to, with examples from Bangladesh on actually how to make the city plans, the master plans, climate sound, especially when it comes to aspects of climate resilience and adaptation, something which, and we see it all over the world, I think in each country, in each continent, from year to year, the need for having those and including resilient aspects gets bigger and bigger. And with that, also lots of thanks from my side to our speakers, to Ronnie, to Enamul, for the presentation on climate resilient inclusive urban master plans. Looking forward to that and for then an interesting session and discussion. And also thanks. Now we have 46 participants. It's also really good. It shows the importance of the topic, and that it's really, I think, very motivating to move and bring this forward and have really lively and useful discussions. Thank you so much. I'll hand back to you, Lucy.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Sebastian. And again, here also heartily welcome and thanks to Ronnie and Enamul. But before I hand over to you guys as the experts for your presentation, I just thought we would have a little check-in to make things a bit more interactive and to grasp also the collective intelligence that we have in the room. I'm really happy to see that we are so many this time. I want you guys to, if you can, and now I have the problem that I cannot share the link for direct connection in the chat because I'm sharing my screen. But I think all of you can use these two other formats for using Mentimeter, which is to take your mobile phone and use the QR code. You would go directly to the questions, or you can type in menti.com and use the code 73732595. That will also bring you to this questions. And the idea is now, to just grasp a little bit of what associations you have with climate resilient inclusive urban master plan. What comes to your mind? Any kind of associations that you have towards that, and also how do you think urban planning and climate change issues are interrelated? The first one will be a word cloud, and the second one is it's more open questions. And now change to the Mentimeter, and I hope that we can then start. Yeah, let me start presenting. I hope everybody got the opportunity to enter. I hope so. Here again, the QR code and the code. And let me see if some responses are already coming. Climate resilient inclusive urban master plan. What comes to your mind? Wait a bit, some responses might be coming in. And if you have any problem, if there's nothing working, just please let me know, or let us know in the chat so that we can still try to make you able to join the Menti. You see also here the code again and how to join, and there are responses coming in. Very interesting. So you think someone think of gender, ecosystem-based adaptation, risk assessment, climate adaptation, integration, that's very good, sponge city, yeah. Transformative, livable, conflicts of use, very good point. Well, human well-being, social cohesion from the inclusive part, right? Sustainable living, wow, very nice. Yeah, there is no preference for one word, so we don't see this bigger word being built in the middle from the cloud, but many important gender. Oh, nice. So how can we have urban master plannings that are climate resilient, inclusive towards also the gender aspect, participatory, very good. So some preference there. Leave no one behind, the commons, difficult. Climate friendly city. Okay, thanks a lot. I think there are many issues that will be touched upon during the presentation on how to bring in these aspects of resilience and inclusivity towards also the planning aspects. And I say we could go to the next questions just to briefly perhaps become a bit more concrete on how you think.
Karena kan eco-label brandnya itu kan sudah punya.
Thanks, Moni. You were unmuted. Yeah, how you think urban planning and climate change issues are interrelated, and just a few insights of perhaps those who are already really working a lot in this area or have concrete ideas. How urban planning can have aspects regarding mitigation of climate change issues, but also perhaps adaptation more in general, and resilience. I think many things are related to also what have been said also before, but let's see if some answers are coming. Urban spaces as enabler for well-being, urban population, urban adaptation, climate change issues happening in the urban space. Exactly. I think it's also possible to vote for some of the answers if you want. I'm not sure how to show you that. Perhaps that's you can see in your voting. So if some answers resonate more to you, you can also vote. Yeah, vulnerable capacity assessment. Cities and citizens have to adapt to future scenarios. Urban areas can become safe spaces. These two concepts bring about sustainable cities, preserving urban space for the future. That's also very interesting. Urban development is key to climate action, exactly. So all the issues of how we develop transport and building and housing infrastructures, also related to the mitigation aspect, right? Cascading impacts if critical infrastructures fail. Perfect. Do we have someone who would like to perhaps voice in something that they have been working, just that we have the opportunity also just to listen to some voices, just if you want. Otherwise, there will be time for more exchange also in the end. Smart urban planning can save humankind. Without integrated, foresighted planning, responding to climate change remains only punctual and cannot be long-term and sustainable. Exactly. Very much. I think colleagues from Bangladesh will probably react also to some of this responses. And thanks everybody for participating, for joining our poll. That sets the scene a bit also for the context of the webinar. And with that, I would like to thank again for joining and close the Mentimeter poll for now. Thanks for those who participated. And I would hand over to Ronnie and Enamul for their speech. And since I also now I'm a bit have the difficulty of being sharing the screen, and I hope that you were seeing everything. I will introduce them in the chat just as they start speaking. And let me just stop sharing. I hope that I managed to do that at some point. And then over to you, Ronnie and Amol.
No, thank you. I would say I will switch off the video because I think somehow the bandwidth is not really permitting. Otherwise, the presentation gets stuck. But just to give an introduction, I have been with GIZ for like around now 17 years and involved in different urban development, international refugee project designs, disaster management things. And yeah, I was also a former co-speaker of the Turbo Click as well. And it is really wonderful to have the opportunity, and thanks to Lucy, Ishtiaq, and Sebastian for the platform. And maybe I just give a few words to Ishtiaq. He's going to also be the co-presenter.
Yeah, thank you everybody and welcome to our presentation today. And I am Enamul Haq. I'm a senior advisor in CRIS projects, and I have been involved in GIZ last 12 years. Out of my 16 years work experience in urban sector, and this is the fifth project I am working in GIZ. All the projects are related to urban development, environmental management, urban planning. This is my working experience, and I also have some academic experience related to this field. So thank you. I think you will enjoy our presentation today.
Okay, then maybe we jump into the presentation. Hopefully it will work. Okay, I need to share the screen maybe, because we tried to share also through the MS Teams. Somehow it's maybe Ishtiaq has a backup, but I'm not sure how it is working. Yeah. Please let me know if you can all see it.
We can see it. Perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, then
But it,
a bit small
if
introduction regarding our project. It's a project that is basically supporting the Bangladesh government to have a streamlining of the urban planning approaches in Bangladesh. There are two ministries who are responsible for doing master plans for cities, and they are doing two different type of things, different detailing. So we wanted to bring them all together and to have a national methodology, how this master plan could be done. And we thought that, yes, the climate risk issues are not really addressed, gender issues are not addressed, leave no one behind principle is not really addressed. So we wanted to come up with an approach that can combine all three aspects and update the existing planning steps that is followed by this two ministry. And we have like two focus cities, Shatkhira and Sirajganj. Sirajganj is a kind of area which is kind of in the middle of Bangladesh, but we surrounded by one of the largest river system with the flood-prone area. And Shatkhira is more to the north, close to the Bay of Bengal, where it is very prone to the climatic conditions, cyclones, and salinity. So two different contrasting cities. So it was quite interesting for us that how this different type of master plan with different climate risks that could be addressed. And we also were entrusted by BMZ impossible task already to scale up this approach within the project cycle. So imagine with the COVID and others, we virtually had 14 months to carry on the project, but we are also like to share the experiences. Just as a note, it's still we are running and wrapping up our final outputs and final products. So we will not show you all the finished products yet. And we hope to offer another exchange through TurboClick once all the working papers and everything is ready. And we really hope that it will also be useful for other countries who are looking for climate change issues later on. So bear with us with some of the final products to come in. Just to bring you back, this is the location of 2 cities where we are working. As you see, one is very close to the Bay of Bengal, another one is quite far away. And if you have any questions, we can also answer, because we want to give you more space today for question and answer sessions rather than presenting from our end. So now we had like these 3 development things in our mind. The central element of our project is the development of the model master plans, which we said Climate Resilient Inclusive Urban Master Plan is CREAMP. So this is kind of our brand name. It is based on the national methodology that we have developed, and this methodology we have tested into pilot cities in Sirazganj and Satkhira. And this methodology seems to be quite acceptable and well appreciated by different stakeholders. And we used different surveys, investigations, and many disaster risk assessment and analysis. And we also went for more socioeconomic surveys. So there was a different type of investigations. And as you will see the indication, we also used the drone technology quite extensively because of the extension of the cities. I will not go into the details. I will share the PowerPoint with you. The blue shades are basically the boxes that shows the traditional master plan approach here. And you will see that the climate risk assessments, hazard identification, the risk analyses, and risk management plan, and finally how it would be in climate action plans, they were not really addressed into the existing master plans. So the yellow boxes are basically representing the add-on values the project has brought. We would like to just mention here that why we did not come up with a new approach, or why we did not use the old approach. Old approach, we kept it alive because it still has a quite good elements, and many of the urban planners and the local governments have been trained already, and the government has already some examples. So we do not want it to change everything overnight, which would not be possible within these 3 years. But adding those yellow elements into this whole approach, climate risks, gender and inclusiveness, we thought that we challenge their mindsets. And gradually, when we start to implement those national methodology, maybe then the old plans can be amended and the new plans can adopt to the new methodology. So basically, it's a long-term effort, but we have just started the beginning. And if you see from our end, for an easy understanding from the municipalities, we developed a 17-step approach. I will share the methodology draft with you maybe next month once the ministry approves it. It starts with the citizen consultation and organizing things, then goes with different data collection that is global standards, and then all the analysis comes in. But in between, what was quite important for us that we did not come up with a generalized conclusion for both cities. We came up with 2 different set of climate risk analysis and outcomes. The impacts were different. Economic and social conditions were different. The challenges were different. So at the end of the day, we came up with 2 different set of conclusions for both cities following the approach. But what was quite interesting to see that both cities really decided that they want to go for green development because of the global climate change and other things. They felt that nature-based solution, or at least a green development, could be the way forward. So they want a green city. And I think that would be quite a big signal for the World Bank, ADB, and others, where to adopt more green construction approaches and nature-based solutions in the particular cities. And I think we also have a colleague joining from KfW. This would be also quite important message that we also have shared earlier. The working approaches, if you see here, that we wanted to have a sectoral assessment and review, and that consists of a different sector analysis on transportation, hydrology, socioeconomy, natural and development settings, regardless economic activities as well, and also the institutional capacity to implement that. And the stakeholder consultation and community consultation were at heart of us. Like our city has like 18 wards or 21 wards, 9 wards. So we went each of these smallest administrative units for 1 month. We had an office there for each of the wards, and citizens were invited to come and discuss about their problems. So we reached really to the grassroots level, not only for the sake of citizen consultation, what are the key recommendations from their end to improve their locality. And then we combined all the recommendations for whole city. And then we also invited like all the governance body members, private sector, politicians to discuss about those outcomes that we have got from the citizens, and vetted which directions the city should go. What would be the future city in the next 20 years? And accordingly, we triangulated all those outcomes with our baseline surveys and also the data we received from different ministries. And there we came up with a 3-tier planning process, because this is a standard practice in Bangladesh to have a structure plan. But this is not a physical structure plan. This is a structure plan that lays out how the city can strategically develop the policy framework for a city. And then the urban area plan is much more looking at which are the areas has higher urban potentials and which need to have some concentration. And the detailed area plan and the action plan shows which particular locality to do what. And we will also go into deep into the details, but I will much more reserve this for our discussions outside. Importantly to say that we had around different type of surveys, starting with topography, physical feature surveys, transport, socioeconomic, hydrology, geology, and climate and environment. And each of these surveys had a very dedicated team and different ways to do that. I will share the kind of slides with you, so you can also look at the list of the salient features of those surveys. So I hope that might also be useful. And we have also prepared the 7 sectoral working papers out based on the data. So those report will also be ready. And as I said, when it is ready, we will also share with you in the upcoming sharing sessions. In a nutshell, if you see, when we went for the stakeholder consultation, we had quite a high engagement, not only to discuss with them, but we also showed them the outcome of our mappings and our analyses, and we requested them to help us to adjust that. And also the cadastral maps, which was always somehow, I would say, bypassed by many of the earlier urban projects, because they're very difficult to digitize. But then you put it into the maps, you really do not find the plot-to-plot information anymore. So that is a challenge we undertook, and we really made like 260 or 70 cadastral maps together in 2 cities, and it produced a fantastic accuracy. And this is an asset which can be used also for the text database development in the future. And all these informations we prepared to have a base map, and that was the basis for our further recommendations on the land use and everything else. Small glimpse, we wanted to show you that these are the drones we have been using for our surveys, which is definitely comparable to any European and North American standard with all the sensors. And I will not go into the details of these. One of the outcomes was, if you see in the right, this 3D physical feature maps. And it is just only one of the few 3D maps which we have developed, which shows quite clearly the water bodies, the density of the buildings, even height. The darker buildings are the high-rise buildings, and the lighter buildings are the low-rise buildings. And we produced maps that shows even the width of the roads, the drainage, even the extension of the vegetation. So we produced a number of maps that is useful for sectoral planning, regardless of transport or whatever. And these are the few tools that we have used. For example, with the using of the Kobo toolbox, we used to survey around 3,000 households. And it is quite representative to the cities. And it has also gave us almost 95% accuracy of the data. And we are quite happy with that. And with the transport survey, we used, for example, this artificial intelligence using the cameras. And I have also shared with you a link. If you go to the link, I will also briefly walk through the digital tools that we have used so that you can also have some details out of it. But we have used this artificial intelligence to have an accurate traffic flow analysis type of vehicles, because this was vital for the transportation. And I think this is also vital to plan any mitigation plan in the future. And you see a glimpse of it. Whenever there is a new vehicle is coming in, they are already capturing it. And this artificial intelligence language were basically from the international softwares. So we basically trained the software how to recognize like these special vehicles we have in Bangladesh, these tricycles, machine tricycles, rickshaw vans. So the machine could then identify. And so we also had some enhancements, and we are quite happy with that. Apart from that, the socioeconomic survey, as we said, we use the Kobo toolbox, which we strongly recommend you also to use when you do the planning, because then it gives you accuracy, plus the data analysis becomes and the quality becomes much more better. We are happy to provide any bilateral discussions with you to discuss these tools in detail. So the survey outputs were quite satisfying. We had different type of maps. We had digital elevation maps to use the hydrology, the flood forecastings. We had land use maps of different categories, which was also very, very useful. We had the socioeconomic profile of the city. We had the stakeholder mapping. And what we did additionally was the economic analysis, which was completely neglected in the earlier master plans. For example, establishment of a new IT park, establishment of a big industrial park in the periphery of the city, construction of a regional highway, how it is impacting the city in the backward and forward linkages, and how it is impacting the local economy in the service sector. So this all has been analyzed based on the needs of the two cities. And this is something with just zooming in that the 3D maps that we have produced. And apart from that, I would say, just to give you a glimpse, if you're interested, we can show you some other maps, but I think we would also like to discuss with you regarding our recommendations and others. But just to show you, this is the recent publications that we had from the digital tools. Please go with the link I have shared already in the chat box. And you will find the details of the tools that we have used. Also, a short presentation of our project. This is the drone that we have used. So you will also see a small description of what does it mean and how we have used it. Then the use of artificial intelligence in our drone survey. So you will also get some details about the artificial intelligence and the mobility. You will also see this digital data collection using toolbox, Kobo toolbox, and you can also get some details on the Kobo. This is the flood and hydrology analysis we did, and the salinity intrusion modeling, having a once in a 5 year, 1 year, 1 in 100 year projections. So this simulation and the modeling we also have prepared to prepare different scenarios in the development, and that would be very interesting for all the investment projects, how they want to design their investment plans in the high endangered areas. And also this is the cadastral, which we also say that please have an emphasis on the cadastrals, because without having an accurate cadastral analysis and integration within the master plan and land use, no master plan can be complete. And the whole, for example, building permission or zoning or permitting any change of building usage will be quite useless if we do not have an authentic cadastral. Apart from that, we also had a piloting in the Living Urban Lab where we have tested vertical agriculture because both cities wanted to have green development. So we focused how the urban poor communities can be brought into the green movement process. So as the salinity and the land scarcity is there, land fertility is becoming a big issue. So we thought that a vertical agriculture things could be a big boon. And we also thought that youth should be involved into the overall awareness raising, and so that they are aware of the master plans, they are aware of the climate risks, and so that they can take the lead in the future and thinking about their cities from the very beginning. So that's all we will say. I just have shared, I would say, only the qualitative part of what we have done. I did not discuss about the different working papers that we have produced, all the endless statistical reports we have, nice little charts and different maps, but that we can discuss on bilateral basis. Whoever is interested with us, we are very happy to share whatever we have and also learn from your experience and feedbacks. So the rest of all, I would leave for our question and answer sessions, but I would also like to give my colleague Enamul the final words in case he wants to show some details or you want to talk about something.
I think we also have some set of proposal, but total activities is so much details. Actually, in one presentation, it's not possible to complete every part. I think we could throw the time for the open discussions. I think already I am seeing some question and queries in the chat. I think we could time to time giving our answer if there are any queries or any deep dive required. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, applause to you for this insightful presentation and for this amazing work. Thanks for sharing that with us. Yeah, I can imagine how difficult things might have gotten also with pandemic and everything, and also looking at scaling up. I think we can start discussing also then about these issues. I will read up the two questions in the chat, but perhaps colleagues also want to use the hands raise functionality to come in and also talk, and we can make this a lively discussion as well. Hudresh from India is asking, why did you use drones? Is not good quality satellite data available? And also Georg Janssen now in Cambodia, I assume that with such detailed maps, you might have highlighted several conflicts and areas that are subject to political and economical discourses. How did you get all stakeholders on board, all ministries and various departments in line with this? How did you make this massive data set with so many details accessible to non-experts? Okay, then we could start with these questions and we can then after that take others.
Yeah.
Perhaps I if it's okay, I'll bring in a third one and then you can bring in your answers. Which time frame have you considered for the implementation of this plan? And would be great to know the status of legalizing the master plan. Okay, over to you.
Okay, then maybe we start with the drone. With the drone, why we use drone and not the satellites? Maybe you want to answer it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting and a very technical question. I would like to thank the question who raised the question. Actually, we nowadays we have available satellite data, and each satellite is assigned for each purpose. Some satellites just recognize vegetation, some are water bodies, some also engaging for our internet service provider. So I think if you want to, or we want to go for a specific objective, or in urban area, we have to use the drone. Drone give us a very specific data, and from very near distance we could capture the image, and it will drone is could give us a very accurate data. You know that the urban landscape, it is the heterogeneous character. You'll find vegetation here, you'll find structure, but lot of time some concrete structure, road also here, drainage also here. So very diversified feature you will find in the urban city. So there is the drone is the appropriate tool to conduct the survey instead of satellite. But if you go for any specific one or two categories subject, I think the satellite would be fine. For urban planning, so nowadays drone is widely used for any kind of survey of urban planning, and also for infrastructure survey, drone is widely used in worldwide.
I mean, also just to add one challenge in this case, what we see is in the satellite, the density of these urban areas where we work is highly dense. And if you do not have a really high resolution satellite pictures, it's difficult to distinguish them. Plus, if you have quite vegetations are quite spread over the city, so which are beneath the vegetation, then you don't identify them; they're excluded. And with the drones, we had really highly developed sensors which could penetrate that area. And we also wanted to have the real baseline to be set, so that the pictures and the images are from that day, recent days, not 10 days or 20 days or 30 days old. And we also wanted to, because this is quite a dynamic area, like you could have rainfall or whatever, so the maps, the satellite images might give you some wrong impression if the maps are a bit older. And ordering the first-hand maps also takes a bit time. To have the positioning of the satellite, you have to wait. And we also had a time constraint, because after the COVID, we had a very little time in hand, and to plan all those different type of maps. So we had to make thousands of communications on which kind of map we will need, communication, purchasing. It was quite difficult. So the most effective way, as the technology was in our hand, and we had very competent local consulting firm who could help us. So we opted to go for, because we needed much more detailing than only, not to have only the maps, but we also had to go for all this development of transport surveys. And there we needed workforces, and then combining all those different GIS data layers together. So, I mean, yes, you can also use the satellite data, definitely, for sure. Satellite maps are also definitely helpful. But I would say the countries like Bangladesh, what we have found, drone is definitely really a blessings for us, because it's not very expensive compared with whatever we are doing, and it gives a lot of accuracy using 3 or 4 different type of sensors. Same principle that what satellites do, but we get really integrated data, and it is time saving for us as well.
In addition, satellite is also suitable for the regional planning. It's a broader area, but our city is comparatively a small area, like 20 to 30 square kilometer area, or sometimes the cities are 5 to 10 square kilometer area. These kind of areas, suitable tool would be the drone. But if you do for regional or national level planning or national level survey, then that time.
Oh, is it only for me? I think we lost.
I think they have enough.
We lost Bangladesh. Yeah. Oh God, that's a pity. Ishak, any chance you can contact Ronnie somehow?
Yeah, let me check.
Yeah, it's frozen. We could still continue the discussion, perhaps. Georg, coming back to your question, I don't know if you would like also to raise some point from your experience, because perhaps this is something, yeah, quite interesting for conflict issue and
Power got problem in office, so they are reconnecting again.
okay, but I think Georg can just fill in a bit somehow from the perspective of his question and his experience as well. Sorry to put you in the spotlight.
Yeah, I mean, such maps, and I assume that this map is public, right? You can download it as a citizen. I mean, we have not seen now the master plan that can be downloaded. However, such a map is a political statement, right? And I was wondering, normally ministries don't like this, or it's very hard to communicate with various ministries and various stakeholders what to put on such a map and what not. And this map is highly detailed, right? It shows so many details. And, you know, these actors, they might see the map in a different way, or they don't want maybe this map public at all, because it destroys a business model, right? So putting stuff on a map is highly political. And I was wondering in this case, how was the resistance? How did you guys made it happen to get this one published with a download link?
I mean, I might miss the first part of your question, but then please correct us if we do not have covered all your questions, but we are back in the business. One of the good things was that for us that we started the communication very early with the ministry and with the local governments, with the citizens very early. So we started the survey procedure almost 6 months later than our first day of our surveys. We started with trainings, with public awareness on different climate change issues, how the risks is affecting them. So we are preparing them mentally. And then we went first with the socioeconomic survey. And when we were already doing the survey with them, the questions were designed in a way that already the participants could have thinking process in their mind. Oh, okay, this is really affecting me. And then we started to talk with the city council members and to tell them, guys, this is how these things are continuously progressing. In parallel, in the national level, we say to the government that you have a high priority on the climate risk mitigations, and we are the champions in the eyes of the world. But what you are actually doing in the city, because the original action has to be in the city level. And then they said, okay, then please come up with something that is feasible. And then we started to go deeper into the discussions, like which extent of the details we might go in. And then we examined the different earlier master plans. And there was so much details already laid out. So the government doesn't want it to come up anything less. So they want, no, we want at least to have that detail plus more. And then our whole idea was that we go into plot-to-plot details because that is useful for the cities, for the land use control, building permission, the taxation, and things like that. But in the general level, if you see, there are some general maps that shows what is the disaster scenario in a once in a 5-year, once in a 10-year disaster. And then there is a scenario on the land use. What is the existing land use? How this is shrinking and how it is impacting, how the salinity is coming in. And these are the maps we communicated in the local political level that they understand. And we also prepared a number of infographics. We did not, as you said, we did not show you all the outputs that we have produced. That is something I would love to show you in future. So those infographics were kind of summarizing key findings of our different surveys in nice little pictures with key figures. And they were really saying, is it really true for our city? So I think there was a political consensus that, yes, this is quite interesting. And once those findings were communicated with them, we invited more than 250 local stakeholders together in a day-long workshop where we presented them. If you have anything objectionable of this, please, this is the time to speak about it. So there were local parliamentary members, state ministers, local politicians, whoever. And fortunately, yes, both of these cities somehow endorsed it. And the question is, obviously, you can say, what is the future with this big buzz? Is other cities going to endorse it? We try to set a standard that if you want to tackle the climate change, you need to have a good information basis. Because whatever we do now in Bangladesh, it's like rule of thumb. Oh, yeah, we are vulnerable to climate change. To what extent? What is the vulnerability extent and our exposure to that? Nobody can tell you. And the baseline and the data are completely not reliable. Different sources, not really compatible, not adequate. So we wanted to come up with a solution where if, for example, KfW decides to go to Shatkhira and Sirajganj, they do not have to do, at least a general baseline is not needed. But what they can do, yes, for their sectoral detailing maps or surveys, they can do it. World Bank, if they can go, they can already see the plan. There are detailings. And if they want to go, for example, drainage development, the basics are there. And they are free to do a separate in-depth drainage master plan and then work on it and use our data. So basically, yes, we have different target groups. So the town planners will use the more detailed ones, or the engineers who are in charge of using those data. Then we have maps and information for the politicians, which they can hang on their ward councillor's office or the mayor's office, and they can refer to, yeah, this is my city, how these things are doing on. They can show the maps to others. Yes, my city, this is the green zone where I want my development. And this is the red zone. I do not want any development because I will be drowning in 10 years. So, and that is one of the discussions we are also having through the national level. Once this methodology is approved, how they are going to then scale it up. And that is definitely beyond our project control. Just to let you know, our National Urban Sector Policy, Ishtiaq, is also known to that. The first draft was in 2004, and still we could not finalize it. So imagine now I'm bringing in a technical document. It might take some time, but the initial notion is that this is a good way forward. And both of the ministries where we are working together, they have already given the thumbs up that, yes, this is a good way to go, and please submit the final official version with us. So yeah, we cannot foresee the future, but maybe something could be useful.
Lucy, we have more questions.
Yes. I think this is a good point, like the future, because there was a question also about the time plan. What time frame have you considered for the implementation of the plan? And also, like Georg just adding, there was the mapping part, of course, very important, but also planning the future, like future interventions and how, to bring this thing together, because it's not only about the status quo, but what needs to be changed in the future and the time frame for this. And perhaps we can wrap up then after that. Ronnie, please be brief, or one of you.
Yeah, just one addition to the previous, the mapping things. One point, we assume sometimes that general peoples don't understand the map. It is not correct. We also work in the slum area, and they draw a very nice map of their area. And in Bangladesh, I think most of the people have a good understanding on map, and the relevant ministry also have the prerequisite to produce nice and very accurate map. If we could not produce it, I think they will not accept our project. So I think in Bangladesh, in urban area, at least it's a good understanding of this map. And another question relevant to the time frame. Actually, our master plan is split in three parts. One is the strategic plan and structure plan, and another is urban area plan, and last one, the detail area plan. The detail area plan's time frame is 5 years. 5 years time. So after 5 years, time to time review and update. And urban area plan is a 10 years plan. After 10 years or within 10 years, it would be updated. And structure plan is the 20 years plan. So total package is till to 2043, from 23 to 2043. So it is a 20 years package from of the master plan.
Yeah, and now we are mixing up with the questions. Maybe Lucy, you could help us looking at some other questions.
I think that was mainly what we had. There was also still a bit the question on how, how to make this available for non-experts, but you touched upon this as well. And yeah, I think since we only have 1 minute left, what I take is that there is a lot of room for discussion and also for learning more from CRISC experience. We will definitely bring you up again in the spotlight and let you guys report more about the methodology and also thinking about now also how to scale this up. I mean, that would be amazing to see this methodology and approach being used by other cities. And even though, I don't know, the climate risk scenarios are somehow quite blurred to me, and how to connect that as well, because I think we will have to play with a lot of uncertainty. But we could, for sure discuss this further and continue the exchange. I know colleagues in India want to very much benefit from this experience as well. So let's keep up the momentum. I see David now just perhaps congratulating. Very impressive to see how you followed an integrated urban development approach, bottom up and public hearing perspective, massive data collection, triangulation of all these dimensions. So I think that's a very good wrap up for this. I don't know if Ishitiak and Sebastian want to say any final words, but then again, thanks a lot, Ronnie and Enamul, for your insight. Thanks everybody for joining from my side. It was really a pleasure to see many of old and new faces. We will share the materials with you, or also check our website, the two of us website. I'll just share that in a bit as well in the chat. Please let us know if you're joining the conference in Bangkok, the SNGA conference. Ronnie, I know you guys will be there. So we are planning now to start collecting inputs and collecting contributions, and make this also a nice conference for everybody joining. Unfortunately, it will only be in presence, but we will keep you updated of whatever we are doing and whatever is coming out of it as well. Over to you, Sebastian and Ishitiak, for 1 minute final word. And thanks again, everybody.
Yeah, thanks also from my side, Lucy, for the very nice facilitation as usual. Thanks to our two speakers for this very interesting, wonderful, and I think for lots of partner countries, most of us, very relevant presentation, and the very active participation that we had this time. So with this, I hand over to you, Ishtiak, for the final words.
Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you, Lucy, for your nice moderation. And actually, it is Ronnie Bhai and Enamul. Thank you from our heart that you give your time, and it is really nice presentation. And as a Bangladeshi colleague, I know what was your involvement in this project. I know what is your successful things in your project, but in this project we can see some glimpse, but hope that the rest of the time of the project you will be successful to close the things. And also our heartfelt thanks to the participants that actually you are with us and see and contribute with your valuable thoughts. And also, as Lucy mentioned, that see you in October in our SNGA conference. Hope we will be a nice session there. And if anyone is missing there, then we will update the result of the conference. And last word, thank you and see you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ishitiak, I think you can just stop the recording, right?